You're listening to Catching Wildfire, a podcast by the Public Safety Broadband Technology Association. It's always my pleasure to introduce the national treasure, Chief Kim Zagaris, who, as most folks knew, that he was the top official at the Office of California Emergency Services for 18 years and truly a legend in the wildfire space. He now serves as a senior wildfire policy advisor for the Western Fire Chief. So, Chief Z, welcome. My name is Jeff Johnson, and I am the retired executive director for the Western Fire Chiefs and retired out of Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue. And it's my honor today to introduce our guest, Will Pigeon. And Will is the co-founder and CEO of Tablet Command. So Will, welcome. We're so excited to have you here today. And given how much Chief Z and I put into the LTE and technology space on behalf of FirstNet for public safety, folks like you that are evolving the tools that our people use in the field, you're critical to the ecosystem. So welcome, Will. And why don't you start off telling us a little about yourself and Tablet Command?
Awesome. Chiefs, thank you so much for having me on Catching Wildfire. Super happy to be here. Just a little bit about myself. I grew up in the Bay Area, went down to San Diego State, started college there, and had an interest in the fire service. So I had a parallel path while I was at college. And while I was at college, I was a full-time firefighter. I was able to, the chief at the time let me go to San Diego State, downstaff the engine while I was actually on duty. They would just downstaff the engine. So that was an awesome opportunity. Down in San Diego, firefighter medic, fire dispatcher, flight rescue medic. And then in 2005, I got hired by Contra Costa County Fire to come back home, if you will, and work for an agency where I grew up in the county. And in 2005, was in the academy, came out of the academy. And in 2007, Contra Costa County Fire, for the first time in its history, had 2 line of duty deaths. Matt and Scott both lost their lives trying to rescue an elderly couple in a 1,000-square-foot home. Huge tragedy. And around the time, Andy, my co-founder, Andy Bozzo, who came from Tacoma Fire, but was in the academy in Contra Costa when we suffered that line of duty death. He came out of the academy, and of course the department, any near miss or any line of duty death, they're always interested in trying to figure out how to avoid tragedy like that in the future and improve the outcome. So I think there were 141 or 142 recommendations that came out of that report and that finding. And so Andy, after he came out of the academy, was giving a class to the operations chief, and I'm getting in a little bit into Tablet Command's founding origin story, but he was teaching the class to the operations chief what they did for accountability up in Tacoma Fire. And at the time, the state of the art solution, and maybe they still do this today, is the clip-on keychains. You clip 2 keychains on to your SCBA air pack, which I think we're all familiar with, and one gets clipped onto the command post and one gets clicked into IDLH, whoever's maintaining that accountability. So it got Andy thinking about incident command and accountability. And in parallel, the iPhone came out in 2007 and the iPad came out, I think, in 2009 or 2010. So that kind of that draws a line in the sand where I feel like technology truly was becoming mobile at the time for the fire service, which is a mobile workforce. So Andy was playing Words with Friends with somebody in Texas off duty, and he was dragging a letter out to the board. Imagine the letter E, dragging it out, and it has points associated with it, and that could be the number of personnel. So he had this epiphany that why can't we drag, an incident commander use a tool like an iPad to drag letters out to the board, or those engine companies out to the board, to give them assignments for a fire attack. And he was playing in real time with somebody in Texas. Andy and I were working together on another project in the department. He knew I had a background in technology, and that's when we founded Tablet Command. So
incredible.
In terms of the history, yeah, thank you very much. We started as a standalone application, launched on the App Store in early 2013, and it was really just an application to help incident commanders keep track of the resources that are assigned to the incident. When you first started, you have to punch in the resources that you were assigned and whatever the alarm level was. And then we quickly got feedback from International Association of Fire Chiefs. I think it was a connections event or a technology event at a fire chiefs conference where they said, you have to dial this in and integrate this with CAD.
Right.
So we did that in 2014. And since then, some of the milestones that Tablet Command's had in terms of the feature and kind of revolutionary I think we've revolutionized the industry in terms of situation awareness and accountability and incident command. Is just to give you an example of the time savings, one value proposition that Tableau Command has for an incident commander is if an incident commander is on the scene of a large incident, second or third alarm, if they call for an inventory to the communication centers for a third alarm, that process alone takes 60 seconds on the radio versus Tableau Command. As soon as the resources are assigned, they are populated in the application with just a quick drag and drop. So your whiteboard's automatically populated. And over time, we've had customers request integrations, including MDT. So we do an MDT replacement where we can now status back into the CAD and write comments back into the CAD. And then also just bringing everything, including customized maps, staffing solutions, you name it. We try to bring everything into that single pane of glass for responders in the field. Two things I want to mention is the history of the Tableau Command. 2018, we launched shared AVL, which allows, of course, when you're in a communication center, you can see your resources and where the vehicle locations are in your CAD. But, recognizing that on these large campaign fires, these wildfires or these large incidents, or even just automatic aid incidents, you're not able to see neighboring communication centers, vehicle locations. Well, in 2018, Tableau Command changed that. So if you're operating in Tableau Command, you're able to see all resources of all Tableau Command customers, whether you're in California, whether you're in Oregon, wherever you are in the country, you're able to see those resources. And then just more recently, just about a year ago, we launched incident sharing. So now crews are able to see a mutual aid incident, the exact same data that the host agency is seeing in terms of the incident updates coming from the CAD. So, for example, the Palisades fire, the Eaton fire, the LA fires, units were coming in from all over the state, and they would see the exact same data that LA County would see in terms of their CAD data. So it's really a game changer.
That's incredible. And that must be something that the user can turn off, right? If they didn't want to share their location, they can turn it off.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, department could turn that off if they wanted to choose not to share with other agencies, or even a user could share
Right.
and turn off their location as well. Absolutely, Chief.
I think, we were chatting a little bit, but I think the ability to share, I think is, a great example is that during the LA fires in 2025, resources out of Oregon were rolling down to Southern California. We were able to see the information as they were coming down, and then, the incident was actually able to see them and be able to assign them. So I think, there's some things that are, really remarkably moving where we're headed today. So how does a typical customer use Tableau Command in today's day and age, and as you're evolving?
It's great. It's a great question, Chief. Yeah. So it depends on who the user is, right? So if it's a firefighter, they're going to have TC Mobile in their pocket. So if they're inside a fire department, they'll be on duty or off duty, and they'll have TC Mobile, and the user can subscribe to what kind of notifications they want to get. For example, if I'm a firefighter or a captain, I may want to get structure fire or wildfire notifications anytime there's an incident that's in my CAD. And we're sending out notifications to firefighters sometimes 30 to 60 or 90 seconds faster than traditional station alerting. The reason you may be wondering how is that possible is we're watching for the pending incident. So as soon as the address has been verified by the CAD and the call type has been defined by the dispatcher, we're sending out notifications. So before units are even assigned by a dispatcher in the communication center, we're sending those out. We replace users in the field are using it as an MDT. So while they're responding, engine company captains or battalion chiefs are utilizing our application to route to calls, see the customized maps, see the vehicle locations, and see all the updates coming from CAD. And then once the incident commander gets there, the battalion chief takes command. They're using our tool to manage and drag and drop those resources, have their checklists, be able to see what's going on in the incident, who's assigned with who's on the roster of what engine. We bring all that in together so that the incident commander and all the crews can see that. And that information is shared with everybody in real time. So everyone's on the same page. So it's no longer the incident command board is just at the back of the command post or on the legal pad inside the chief's car. It's now available to everyone in real time. So
I know I've chatted over time, but I think one of your challenging points has just been working to get all those AVL feeds integrated into your into tablet command.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge, and that's one of the strong points that we've done in terms of integrations. And maybe I'll mention integrations a little bit later, but in terms of vehicle location data, we started with CAD data. We've got tablet command vehicle location data. We've got solutions like Samsara, Fleet Complete. We have ADSB. We're trying to bring all that location data because there's so many different sources for that, because customers choose different solutions from Cradle Points to PepLink, whatever it might be. We want to be able to source that in our application, because not every, fire departments can't all agree in terms of what solution they choose, as Chief knows.
It's incredible when you think about how it applies at the street level. I was still working as a fire chief at Tualatin Valley Fire, and it's Christmas Eve. I'm driving back from the office. I'm going home, and of course, I'm going home early because I'm the chief. So I was heading out. It's probably about 2 p.m, and you hear a pre-alert for a structure fire, a commercial fire at Washington Square Mall. Now, Washington Square Mall inside TVFNR is the largest regional mall in the area, and it's Christmas Eve, right? It's during the Sprint Mad Rush part. And I'm thinking, yeah, well, there's no way there's a fire at the mall at this time, right? It's just not. And I just glance out my windshield in that general direction, and there was a header that was, you could see that thing. I don't know why I didn't notice it before, but there definitely was a fire, and that was bad news. The worst news was I was going to be first due, and that was bad news for everybody. And I pull into the parking lot, and as soon as I get eyes on this thing, it was a roof fire that started out of a restaurant. And as soon as I get eyes on it, I pick up my radio and I go straight to 3 alarms. Now, the problem with going straight to 3 alarms inside TVFNR is now you have, 18 inbound pieces of equipment, and just trying to keep that straight in my head. And I don't do this every day anymore. I was good at it when I needed to be, but I don't have all the right tools. And I'm just trying to scratch and write and make note and make assignment and try to have this sound like a cogent incident command presence. I could have really used the kinds of tools that you're describing, Will. I mean, incredible. And when you think of that, how did you design your product to lighten cognitive load? Because it's pretty critical.
Yeah, no, it's a great question, Chief. And I've had responses like that as well, being a chief officer and as also a company officer. And so, for me, when I was a chief officer, the things, or even a company officer, if I was an incident commander, the things I was most concerned about was obviously figuring out the incident. Where's the fire? What's happening? Where am I going to assign resources? But primarily, even first to that, is I want to make sure I don't lose my resources. I want to make sure I request the right resources, and I want to make sure that I also don't forget what to do. I mean, that's a huge thing that we're constantly tested on, but it's a huge stress, I think, for chief officers is, they're trying to balance and manage all these things when they're showing up to an incident. So we recognize that there's a lot of things that are coming at chief officers or incident commanders or responders in the field, including the data. And so what we wanted to do was provide a very simple user interface, just drag and drop tiles, and handle that for the users so that the units just show up there, and then they just simply drag and drop onto a template. So you don't have to memorize how to manage a large commercial mall fire, and you don't have to have that stress. You can use our application because it's built off your policies and procedures of how to manage the incident. And if you have time and you're not on the radio, you can pull open that checklist and open up that checklist and recognize, oh my gosh, I forgot to do a 360. I forgot to assign staging.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot to, assign or request law enforcement. Those are all the things that I think that we use when we're listening to incident commanders in the field and how they manage the incident. You're after action reviews. It's like, oh my gosh, Chief Johnson nailed it. He got all the resources accounted for. He assigned them all on the second and third alarm, broke out groups and divisions, never lost a resource, requested law enforcement, requested the building engineer. He remembered it all. He's an amazing chief. Well, you're having to memorize all that stuff basically, or you're having to use an incident template, and we bring that all into the application so that I was riding along very early days back in 2014 with a battalion chief in a major metro fire department. They were using tablet command at the time. And I was riding in the jump seat with battalion chief. We showed up. He was going to be the incident commander, and they respond two battalion chiefs on the incident. And he looks over to me after it was a room and contents fire, so it was bread and butter for them. But he looks over to me after he gave the first drags and drops and gets the first report from whoever the truck, I think it was a truck company, had the IC at the time, and they transferred command. And after about 30 seconds, he looks over at me. He goes, to be honest, he's like, tablet command, it's almost boring on a structure because everything's handled. He's got everything tracked. And I'm not going to say who it is, but, it really opens up the cognitive load for the individual to focus on the incident and focus on what's important, the resources of the crews that are assigned, and have the less of that stress of what are the 911 call details, what resources are assigned, did somebody get diverted to a medical?
Right.
Those are all stresses that we don't necessarily have to happen, and tablet command alleviates a lot of that.
Yeah, it's so critical, right? Especially for an officer that jumps a call, maybe just the regular assigned battalion chief. I don't know if units are in position. I don't know if they started at their station. I can make no assumptions about 53s, 51, 67 coming in order. That may not be the case, right? And as an incident commander would know, I want to start queuing people up. Truck one, I want you to ladder the alpha side of the building, access the roof, right? I want to start making those cues before someone sets an air brake because it matters for positioning. And I think, this technology is so incredible at helping you make those kind of decisions. I'm impressed. And every fire we ever went on, every call we ever went on, they all have a memorable component. This particular fire, I was in the middle. I just had the truck set up on the alpha side. I just sent fire attack into the building, and I'm about as focused as you can be. And I get a tap on my window. Someone taps in my window with their wedding ring. And I roll it down, and I'm quite certain this person is going to tell me some critical information about the incident. And I roll it down, and I said, "Could I help you?" And this lady says, "Yeah, I'm parked right there. Do you mind moving?" I said, "Yes, I do." Just like you can't make it up.
Wow.
That's fun.
No, you can't. I used to work at a casino, and we'd have a cardiac arrest in the casino as an EMT, and you'd be doing compressions, and somebody would say, "Is that machine open?"
Yeah.
Probably they're looking.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
They got a feel for it. Yeah. It's kind of amazing when you talk about where we're at, because I go back to my days of, as a young chief officer, and I took the ICS 201 form, which, is actually 11 by 16 or 14 by 16. Anyway, you fold it together and it ends up being, sheets, and that thing was set up. And on the back of it, is where you write down the resources that were coming. And I got tired of doing that. And so, a lot of the stuff I normally did, I typed in there, and then on the other sheet, I put in there, size up, put down the list, and all things I could check, make it much easier. And I look where we're at today. I said, well, kind of hard to fail to be a chief officer.
No, there's still,
we'll find
definitely
ways.
room,
Tim.
I think.
We'll find ways.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, what do you see coming for public safety with tablet command development cycle? You already talked about where you were in the last couple of years, but things are moving so quickly, and there's so much competition in this space, and who's going to be ahead and who you're working with and all that. Where do you see your development?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So, there's things that I'll be honest, there's things that we're thinking about that I'm not willing to share, of course, in terms of,
Well,
no, but I'll give you.
We won't tell anybody.
That's right. But I'll share what we have coming. This is like a pre kind of announcement that we've got FDIC next week, and so we'll be there, of course, and our team will be demoing a number of these things. But just at a high level, some of the things that we've been working on is we have the ability to support caller location. So if the communication center has an integration with something like Rapid SOS or Rapid Deploy, and the communication center has that caller location data, we can show that in our application. So if as that's updating, working with the communication center, we can support that if the comm center has the data in their CAD. We've got personnel location. So we talked about vehicle location data and trying to track all that, and that's been a huge value add to the fire service. But there's a, as you know, there's a on the horizon. There's a lot of companies out there, and we've had the P25 location from the radios for a long time that our radios have been able to support, but the radio systems really haven't practically been able to support until recently, I would say, because you have solutions like Motorola has the P25 location through their API because they have a SIM card built into the radio, so they're able to send that location data. So we're doing that for a large customer in the state of Florida, where we're sending officer location. They're utilizing that inside tablet command. So that's one of the things that we're going to be announcing is that we're going to have a separate layer for personnel location. So you could turn that on, and you can also search on those personnel as well. So if you're looking for Chief Jeff Johnson and they're assigned to this incident, you could type JOHN and you'd be able to see where that location is for that firefighter or that chief. NARIS is huge. As we all know, there's a lot of talk about NARIS. So tablet command, at the core of the application when we built it, we have checklists. So you're able to, define what your checklists look like. Well, what we're doing to support NARIS and to support all CADs and all incident reporting solutions that are out in the market, we find that this approach is the best. Hold CAD as the authority. And so what our checklist now can support is we can mark those as NARIS tactical benchmarks. There's about 8 of them that NARIS has that you can tag a tablet command checklist item as a NARIS checklist so that you can start mining that data, but we'll also send it back to the CAD so that it'll come back into the CAD as the authority, the record for the record management system, whether you use, Image Trend or ESO, whoever is out there, they're able to mine that data for those tactical benchmarks and bring that into the incident reporting. And then in-app navigation. So we integrate with Apple Maps, Waze, Google Maps, ForeFlight Mobile for our aviation customers, and Esri Navigator, which is another third-party application. We can send people out to those applications. We've had requests primarily from our larger Wildland customers to be able to navigate directly to the incident so that they can still go through traffic, go through road closures and those type of things, or use their own customized streets. So we're going to be able to support that in our application. So our team will be able to demo that next week at FDIC, and you can stop by and check that out. And one of the ones I'm really excited about relative to Wildfire is Watch Duty. So we partnered with Watch Duty. And with Watch Duty, there's 3 things we're working with them on, which we're going to have in version 4.3. So we have 4.2 that's coming up for launch, and 4.3 is going to support these Watch Duty features. First off, if the customer chooses, they can have us, based off rules, send an update notification to Watch Duty, including the lat and long, date and time, and the call type. What agency is responding, just to give them a high-level notification that there's an incident. So Watch Duty calls that a signal. So they get notification that there's an incident going, and we can work with our customers only if they opt to send it, automatically send that to Watch Duty, just high-level location of incident and the call type. Inside the application, as another feature what we're working on is being able to allow our users to see the Watch Duty incidents, because a lot of our users are utilizing Watch Duty for, situational awareness of what's going on these large wildland fires, and they're also using tablet command. So we want to be able to show Watch Duty incidents in tablet command, so you can jump into the Watch Duty app and get those updates. So we'll be able to have little icons or symbology for the Watch Duty incidents in tablet command. And then the one I'm most excited about from an efficiency standpoint is the ability for a user. A department can choose, for example, they could say, hey, Chief Zagaris is allowed to do this, but Chief Johnson's not allowed to do this, is send updates to Watch Duty. So today it's already happening in common practice where PIOs, incident commanders, battalion chiefs, or communication center, or staff are sending updates to Watch Duty about acreage, evacuations, whatever it might be. They're sending text messages and emails today. What we wanted to do was allow a user in tablet command. Of course, the user does this and chooses if they want to do it, and the department chooses who has that ability. they can tap a comment in tablet command and then get it to edit, and they can edit the comment before they're sending it to watch duty. And it asks like, what's your phone number and some other things that watch duty wants before, so they can vet it and follow up with any questions, but it'll just immediately go to watch duty direct. So there's no more opening up a text message or an email. You can basically tap a comment. Maybe it's talking about evacuations or evacuation zones that are being activated. Tap a comment in tablet command coming from CAD or from the incident manager, and immediately send that to watch duty. So we're really excited about that in terms of the efficiency of allowing users and departments to choose what they want to send and when to watch duty, and it's essentially at no cost. There's no cost for the users. So those are just a high level, some of the things that are coming, Chief, in terms of on the tablet command side. We're also looking at ways that we can add AI or artificial intelligence to help users, maybe provide an auto-generated summary of the incident or report, those type of things. We're looking and we're adding those features, and that's kind of all a high level I can talk about at this point. But that's kind of what we're looking at on the roadmap, and also the integrations. We are constantly talking, and I think we might have a topic about integrations, but we're always talking with partners about how to bring that data from other solutions into tablet command so that it's available to the users in the field to truly make a difference.
So, how's your cycle looking as you're trying to move out of the west, heading more east? How's that working for you?
It's working well. It's working well, Chief. To be completely honest, I say that just like anything that's new to the fire service, I think certain states, certain regions adopt solutions. If you think back to way back ICS, Blue Card, or different things that have been introduced across the United States, that different pockets pick it up at different times. And so we're seeing that across the United States, and some regions are a little bit more further along down the path in terms of digital incident command than others. But it's predominantly, I would say, Western United States, Florida, Texas, and we have pockets of other states, including like Ohio, and that are really adopting tablet command. So,
yeah, I don't think it's a secret. Like the Western Fire Chief crafted its mission around that, right? Our mission at the Western Fire Chiefs is technology, wildfire, and the intersection of those two. And that's because so much of the tech has started in the West, and it tends to move east. People work in the East Coast, they know things we don't know. Like I don't know a thing about tornadoes and hurricanes. I don't know other than the basics. They're experts at them. So every place has its thing, but tech historically been a West thing, and the West, because maybe we're younger as a profession here, maybe a little more willing to adapt to it. But that doesn't make it better, just makes it an observation. So I'm really glad to see that it's being accepted as you move across the country. I've been so proud of the fire service, fire and EMS, at just how progressive they are if you can show them that it makes the call better. And that's the key, right? It's just making it better. When Chief Zagaris took me around the campfire in Paradise, California, one of the things is I talked to the 1st Battalion Chief about the challenges he faced. He was talking about going from evacuate this part of town, this section, to evacuate the whole town, and that happened in little to no time. And he did that, as we all did, with virtually no situational awareness, right? How nice would it have been for him to touch his tablet command and touch the map and see the impedance for traffic on every route out, so that you could prioritize the routes that are green, not yellow or red. And that those are these odd little components of a comprehensive common operating picture, one that integrates fire and EMS, but also law enforcement, emergency management, transportation, functions that the county and state hold. To have that 2 or 3 taps away helps us make better decisions. And to your point, it's a perfect execution of AI. It could be queuing up the one that it thinks you should be using. Where are you on the creation of a common operating platform?
Yeah, great question. Let me answer. I'll answer. You just got me thinking about. We just at the Western Fire Chiefs at the Ignite conference. We demoed with, because you're talking about the Paradise Fire, the campfire. We demonstrated with Earth Fire Alliance, which has new technology on satellite locating and detection. We did a thing with Xyloplan, where in terms of working with fire-aside data in terms of structure hardening, and then Tablet Command was all the data was showing up in Tablet Command, and they had the modeling with fire-aside structure protection data, and then also you have the Genesis evacuation zones all in one layer, so you can see all this stuff. And it just got me thinking when you were talking about the Paradise Fire, of all the differences of the data that we have today in Tablet Command can truly make a difference. To answer your question on the common operating platform, we're there today as a common operating platform for a lot of our, all of our customers are utilizing it as a common operating platform.
Mhm.
When you start to operate in a region, or when you're like you mentioned with law enforcement and emergency management, also events, we're there as well. And there's more adoption, and it's becoming more and more the common operating platform for our customers. But just to give you some examples, like we mentioned, the LA fires in 2025, local government fire agencies, OES, Cal Fire were all utilizing Tablet Command at some level to see location of resources, where people were assigned, and what those incidents looked like. And just recently, we just demonstrated to talk about a common operating platform. I can't share the video. I don't have the permission yet, but the Tortuga Festival, which is, I believe, in Fort Lauderdale, Broward County area, they hosted 100,000 person, not conference, festival, and they they had drone video, they had, with Skydio, they had all their customized maps. So everyone was operating on this platform to see everything at the festival. So you have law enforcement with potentially with their drone video coming in, with fire, with their ICS board, with all the customized maps. You can put anything you want in Tablet Command. So it is becoming, depending on the region, it is the common operating platform, definitely for a lot of our customers. And depending on the region, it's becoming the common operating platform as well. So we're definitely on the way to be the common operating platform, hopefully for public safety altogether.
That'd be pretty critical. Chief Z and I remember when there were multiple incident command systems, and finally the country had enough and said we're doing one. And that'll be a good day in public safety when we have one. So we appreciate your work there.
Yeah. Kind of interesting. Not too long ago there was a Cal Fire video out, and it actually has, one of their Firehawks, and it was, saying, "Hey, we use Tablet Command. We don't have to punch things in anymore. Now we've got it. We just get the alert, get on board and go," and takes us there, which I thought was speaks well. And I mean, you're talking one end, and yet, all the aviation feeds you've added in there, kind of like JJ when we put the aviation feeds on the Western Fire map out there. So, Will, you've got a lot of partners you've partnered up with to do this integration, and at the end of the day, it's for the boots on the ground. But you're also sharing, boots on the ground to the ICs, to the command staff, and ultimately also pushing it to EOCs. So, you've got a lot of partners out there.
Yeah, we do. And, over the years, we have requests from integrating to CAD, to building the MDT, to AVL, to staffing solutions. And we've recognized that responders are utilizing, or the incident commanders are utilizing, our tablet or our pane of glass as the solution that they're trying to manage incidents and respond on. And it only creates more value for both our partners, other vendors in the industry, but also our customers, to be able to see that valuable data as well. So, you're looking at staffing solutions, customized mapping solutions, including like Esri, ADSB, which is, aircraft location. We're showcasing that in Tablet Command, so you can see government and military and fire aircraft as well operating on these incidents. I mentioned Watch Duty, Genesis, which is, formerly Zone Haven, to see the evacuation zones. We've got a company called Fire Mapper, where you can edit and annotate maps in real time with multiple people simultaneously. Drone video, we've integrated with, PhotoKite, DroneSense, AirData, Skydio, you name it, you can show that in tablet command. So it really starts to kind of build out this ecosystem, including all the staffing solutions. And, we're also talking pre-plans coming from CAD, pre-plans coming from solutions like First Do, or whatever it might be in personnel locations. We recognize that all these integrations, all these partners are so valuable to the tablet command product. I went so far as hiring dedicated person just to manage our partnerships and our ecosystem with all of our different vendors. So if we have a customer that has something that we haven't integrated with, please make that request to us, so that we can provide that value, and we'll make that valuable in that integration to other customers as well. Because it's really, Chief Johnson mentioned all the single sign-on, the logins, and all these, potentially in another conversation we had. But tablet command brings all that data into one pane of glass, and that's where we
That's so
really
critical.
show the value is our partners.
That's critical.
And that other data. Yeah,
I don't need to
definitely.
be remembering passwords in the middle of some lady tapping on my window. I just want to open the darn thing and touch it and have it move and get stuff done and lighten my load. As a couple of the guys, Chief Z and I, working on a team of people trying to make sure that public safety always have tenacious LTE 5G, soon to be 6G coverage. All this stuff requires connectivity, and FirstNet has done such a remarkable job. They now have over 250,000 square miles of coverage, more than anyone else in the country. And this next year, the end of this year and next year, they're adding a satellite offering, which is satellite to device. So no more cell over Wi-Fi. That your phone will see a satellite the same as it sees a tower just down the road. And that S2D capability is going to be a game changer in the rural parts of the West. And it is so important that technology such as yours and public safety, that we have access to it. Chuck Dowd, who's one of the four horsemen that founded FirstNet, he's fond of saying, in public safety, they won't use it unless it works every time. And that's right. I mean, nobody has a gun that shoots every other time. They go get something more reliable. So I think, it's going to be critical that we continue to evolve. We continue to support companies like yours and FirstNet that are bringing this into our profession. And I just want to thank you on behalf of public safety for the risks you take, the investment you're making, because this really does touch firefighter safety. It touches the safety of the citizens we serve. And Chief Z, thank you as always for your leadership and your guidance. I don't know what we'd do without you staying in this game, so thank you. Will, thank you, Tablet Command. Thanks for joining us today on Catching Wildfire.